too much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a like, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with Two Dope Dudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
Hey, I'm Dave.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I am very well.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, I'm okay. I went to the DMV this morning.
Yeah, how was that?
It's okay. Everything's appointment only.
Appointment only?
Yeah, they just went back. Appointment only.
Probably efficiency or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you know, we're getting to the age now where we're like, hey, why can't it be like it used to be? But then, you know, if you think about it, if you stop for a second and just expand your thinking a little bit and go, hey, you know, there's probably a lot more people now, and there's probably the same amount of people working at the thing. You know what I mean? So like maybe it just has to be that way because there's just so many people to service all the time and not enough DMVs or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just is what it is, and you just gotta kind of adapt and go. And
hey, and the state's behind on everything.
Well, you know, the state. Name one thing the state has ever taken over that's been better, more efficient, better run, profitable. Like,
well,
let me know. Let me know.
Imprisonment.
Well,
no, anyway,
yep.
yeah.
Forced slavery, collecting taxes. Yeah. Remember when we like hired 87,000 armed IRS agents just a few years ago? You know,
something like that. Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Heard that.
Yeah, heard that. Shit. So yeah, welcome to episode 89 of the Elevated News Podcast with Two Dope Dudes.
Oh, 89 was the year I was born.
Really?
That's right.
Damn, I was 9 years old.
Damn.
I know.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're here. We're doing
Here
it.
we are.
Yeah.
I always think about it in context, like some age sometime. I'm like, when you were 16 then, that would have put me at about 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was driving around being a little asshole, as opposed to driving around being a big asshole now. Yeah. You're just a little kid riding your bike, playing t-ball.
Pretending to be my favoriteest baseball player at the time.
Please tell me his name was Mark Grace.
His name was Frank Thomas.
Ooh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
know, and neither of us watch baseball anymore, and neither of us actually care. We're both like, I know you and I are both like anti kind of. But like you just said that you were a White Sox fan and I was a Cubs fan, and so a little part of me was like, oh, you're one of those.
But when I was a kid,
that explains a lot.
we used to like pretend to be our baseballers, and like we got to pick our different baseballers that we were gonna be at the time.
Sure.
And like you always like drafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I'm gonna be Frank Thomas first.
Yep, absolutely.
And then second, most of the time I went Sammy Sosa. Like
okay. Yeah, for sure.
Because I just respected the Bombers, and then it was like Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, if I could get there.
Yeah. Well, could you ever hit that far?
I was a big hitter.
You were the big hitter.
I was.
You were the guy.
I could poke a ball. Yep. When I was a kid, probably now there's no chance, dude. Somebody could throw a 50 mile an hour past me. No, I don't know. I haven't swung a baseball bat in so long. I feel like I want to try it.
I bet your tennis backhand's great though.
I'm really good. I won't say really good, but I'm good enough at tennis. Yeah, I'll play most people.
It's the same. It's the same plane as a right hand backhand. That's why you see all the pros warming up with what's that? Not tennis, but the wiffle ball rackets.
No, the
forehand backhand.
Shuttlecocks. That one.
Forehand backhand.
What's the sport? What?
Wiffle tennis.
No.
Wiffle tennis.
Yeah.
They get really mad if you call it wiffle tennis. Oh, yeah.
I was so badly going to say backgammon like 3 times, and I was trying so hard to not say
Backgammon.
it. Like, I was like, just don't say fucking backgammon. You're going to sound stupid.
Man, we had a teacher in junior high. Bizzle remember this, and he would play backgammon on his lunch breaks.
Nice.
All the time. The time. Man, backgammon. It's a weird game. Anyway, let's get into some cannabis news. We're high and rambling. We're bullshitting too much.
Welcome.
Shit. So yeah, let's get into plugs real quick, and then we'll get on with everything else. Cool. Come on with it. As always, you can find the Elevated News podcast with Two Dope Dudes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming and podcast apps. Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel. Give us a like, leave a review. We appreciate the podcast listeners. We appreciate the people who watch us because, you're awesome.
Yep.
And
commenters.
Yeah, commenters. We do love the commenters, and that's why we respond to the comments every episode. It's one of our little things that we like to do. And then you can find us at supportdopepeople.com along with links to our other stuff and free stickers. If you want them, hit me up, David.
Yeah. What are you doing on Thursday? Come hang out with me on YouTube. Peace, love, and cope. Let's just hang out.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to help you take your health back in your own hands, including number one part of your health right there, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Your brain.
Yeah.
And special shout out. Speaking of our commenters and Thursday nights, Chi-Town Hi-Fi sent me some tomato seeds for my outside garden, like actual tomato seeds, and I appreciate it. Thanks, dude. I'm going to plant them.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, he's super awesome.
Super good people.
Super awesome. Hell yeah. Let's get to YouTube comments.
I love this.
Share this tab. Let's add this right to the stage right here. So, Steve-O, you better believe-o, dry August and September back in the 90s, because we were talking about back in the weed shortage. So he said dry August and September back in the 90s. That was a real thing when it was hard to get weed. You would go through cycles. Yeah, I remember that.
Even for us growing through, like, there would definitely be end of summer droughts all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then Cole Memo watching late, but already know that I like that smash button. Speaking of Cole Memo, please go. Hopefully you watch this live on Monday, but go watch us on the Cole Memo. Probably one of the latest episodes.
So pumped about them.
That'll be for us later today. And then there's a couple other podcasts that have invited us on. That we may be doing soon as well. So, watch out for those. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then special shout out to one of those people who had invited us on that actually just passed away the other day. BigTyme Buds of the CronicChatter podcast. I was trying to get his co-host Corey Kind Buds Dank Nugs, who you'll know from the live chat, on, but he had an appointment. But we may do something for that. But shout out to the whole CronicChatter friends and family. I'm trying to get the live chat on here too. Dave was in this one too. So shout out.
Hey.
Macho, Chi-Town, Hi-Fi, Soki, Shadow was here, Jimmy Anderson was here, Jenny Wheezy. There's Kind Buds, Dank Nugs right there. John Boyd, always there. Seymour. Yeah, all the friends. Y'all should come and hang out. Uncle Polly 420. There's Dave.
That's super. Yeah.
Come out and hang. It's always a good time. So hey, welcome to the Elevated News Podcast. I'm Aaron, and I'm here with Corey of Kind Buds and Dank Nugs. Dave and I talked earlier on the podcast, and Corey was not able to attend, but I wanted to, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about his co-host, BigTyme, from the CronicChatter podcast. Again, a podcast that Dave and I were invited on, and that we had wanted to do with my buddy Corey here. And since in the growing community, BigTyme passed away, I wanted Corey to be able to say something and advocate for sending some money to Mama BigTyme through Cash App if you have the ability to, or you would like to, or you are impacted at all by all the cool stuff that they did over at the CronicChatter podcast, also located in Ohio, giving away lots of genetics and really trying to build a community over there. So, Corey, bro, welcome to this little segment. Sorry it has to be this way, this circumstance, to have you on the podcast, but
But it's okay, because Dave would have liked it. I mean, he was just so huge in the community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Dave was his real name. We're talking about BigTyme Buds and Tattoos. That was my co-host on CronicChatter, and he was just a great guy.
Yeah.
He had such a big heart, and he loved the whole community. So if you can give a little, you can give a lot. Mama BigTyme is probably gonna go through a rough time with the kids, and just keep them in your thoughts and your prayers.
Even if it's $5, if everybody gives $5, that's a whole lot, and that shows that the community cares, and that we can reach our hands across state lines, and autoflower versus photo, and organic versus salts, and we can just support the community, because that's what the plant would want us to do.
For sure. And Dave's up there smoking a big fat blunt right now, looking down on us. He loved growing the plant. He loved smoking it. He loved everything about it, and he loved all you out there in the community. Had always nothing but good things to say about everybody. So thanks everybody for your time and your donation.
And that's Cash App, BigTyme Tats. Mama BigTyme has access to that. So everything's going on, and the community is still reeling from that, but it's important, and I appreciate you coming on and telling us about Dave real quick. Sorry we weren't able to be on the podcast. I was there for the last live that you guys had, and it was a really good show, and I had a lot of fun.
Even though you didn't make it on, you were always there. I mean, you did. I saw you pop in. Once you found out about it. Yeah, so I appreciate that support. I know BigTyme appreciate that support. And like I said, thanks again for this opportunity.
Absolutely, bro.
Anything to help out BigTyme's family.
No, and we appreciate you. I met you, in some competitions, and you're always over in our community. You're part of the community, so that makes us affected by this too. So anything we can do, we for sure. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you too. Keep doing what you're doing, because I love it, and I know everybody else does too.
Thanks, brother. And then I wanted to talk about this because we had Jason on 3 or 4 episodes ago, right? Jason Brown of IlNewsJoint, and then he's got another post about the NewsJoint Scholarship Fundraiser event set for May 17th, and I just wanted to highlight this. So this is the poker tournament. So dude, it's really cool.
This is what he was promoting when he was on with us.
This is for the fundraiser for the tournament.
Is he still seeking donations?
I believe so. I believe he's always seeking donations for this. I think it's one of those things where it's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn, look, there's some cool names on that. Holy cow.
I know. You want me to go back to that?
Yeah, I was just skimming my eyes through. These got a couple of
Jane and Mary's, Emerald, that CNS, Corner Boys. I think that's Hempstock Farms. I can't read it though. Vape and Crop, Know Them, Lobo, Mission, Munchies. Yeah, 1937. Yeah, he's got everybody here.
Holy
River
shit.
Bluff Collective.
You got some great. That's really cool.
Yep. If you're into tournament play, this is probably something you should go to. I know Canna Equity Illinois had a game night not long ago, like a casino night. That was a lot of people had a lot of fun at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Donations to the SIU Foundation Scholarship Endowment can be made here at any time. And donations can either use the name or the account number 10055 on your gifts, and they'll get the correct place. So yeah. Yeah, if you want to donate, if you are privileged enough to be in a place where you're looking to maximize your donations for next year already, this is probably something you might want to be interested in. And it's for a great reason. So, on to the news. Illinois cannabis sales for the first time trail previous year's totals. Oh. Yeah, I know. It's pretty bad, right? So this was April 24th by Jason Brown. Recreational cannabis sales totals for March 2025 reached 147 million for the second straight month, and only third time since legalization. March sales totals decreased from the previous year's monthly totals, following February 2025 totals that dropped nearly 5 million from February 2024. The March 2025 sales finished 1.4 million below March 24 totals of 148 million and change. Whatever change that is to you.
Yeah, I wonder if Michigan sales went up by about 1.4 million.
Actually, I saw an article, and I didn't include it today, but I could find it. But I believe that we had last reported on Michigan that they were dropping, but then I believe they had like a 15% uptake since February or something like that. I'm sure we can find it.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do well around April as well. March, I don't know.
Speaking of Michigan, hold on just a second. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I only kind of made that comment jokingly, but like there's multiple factors that are going on, but it sucks that an industry isn't growing. When from last year to this year at this exact time, how many more licenses and players are trying to make money from this thing, where there's less people bringing money to that market, and they're bringing less to this market because there is a different market within proximity that people have used. And yeah, just super it's unfortunate actually, because a lot of my friends and a lot of my people that I care about work within this industry and shit. But and hopefully even better yet for a lot of my friends that are probably listening to, hopefully it's going towards hemp and people are getting smart and just getting access to what they're looking for.
Did you
what
do you see this? There? This, I'm sorry. I have it full screened on one screen, and so this weekend, and shout out to my buddy RF Canna, also had this on his Instagram. This was flying over Illinois this weekend. This is a Michigan cannabis company, and they were flying it by plane. It was over Aurora. It was over, I saw this one on Reddit, and it's Michigan disposed advertising by a plane in Grundy County. So they had
that is fucking amazing.
I know. Well, you said I wonder if Michigan had a 15% increase, and it reminded me of that. Isn't that crazy? I wonder.
The only reason it tickles me that much is I can see the people that I used to work with who are so into themselves, just seething, just first they don't have to abide by the same regulations, and now they're flying planes over our territory. Yeah, keep Michigan planes in Michigan. Whatever the fuck they're gonna do. I don't know. It's funny. That's really funny.
I know, it's crazy. So I mean, more on Michigan later. After the first 3 months of the year, 2025 sales totals are below 2024 totals by about $53,000. Okay. I mean, that's not much, but I mean, it is a decrease.
Yeah, but dude, to be decreasing. Well, okay. Let's all respect that economically there was a massive shift recently. All right. We're trying to navigate new landscape, and not just in cannabis, but across tons of markets.
Sure.
Consumers are not spending the same amount of money. We're seeing it, especially
consumers are becoming more, not just consumers have been becoming more wise because they've been understanding and feeling the effects of inflation more. You know what I mean? And kind of understanding the overall market and where we at with the Federal Reserve. And there's more like talk about it. So more people are starting to understand, what's going on. And that is a good thing. It is unfortunate, but the more people are aware that we got to stop printing money and spending it on war machines, I mean, the better off we as a people are.
I'm just
killing
saying
poor brown people across the world.
There was a lot, and I still think it's true. Like 100% cannabis is a recession-proof, and we kind of see it here. We saw a big decrease, and there wasn't a big decrease in cannabis. It held steady and it held true, right? So, that's probably not a bad thing. But I think that's it too. Is the market for consumption of cannabis is only the size that it is. It grows regularly as kids grow older, but where that pie is divided right now is what everybody's fighting for. Is it black market, gray market, whatever? And in that chart, yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the reason that we need to fight in Illinois specifically to get cannabis less regulated by the state, because the state is only using cannabis to pay bills, and so they will only do what is necessary to increase the money that they receive from it instead of making it better for the people.
Under the current what's going on, without beating the taxing to death, as long as it is what it is, let there be some level of fair, and let there be some level of access at least.
Sure.
It's the only thing that I beg for. When we literally have a framework fucking an hour away. It's not that far. You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist to experience this shit.
But they're not trying to, well, maybe they are now, but they didn't write their laws in order to fund bill paying. That's the reason. That's what I'm trying to say. Michigan, an hour away, didn't write their cannabis laws because that they were, almost bankrupt as a state and couldn't pay their bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Illinois is using the cannabis taxes to pay their bills for all the other bad decisions that Illinois has made.
Yeah. Well, and if that's the only way that we finally gained access to cannabis is because the government has fumbled fucking funds, then kudos to them for sucking it up. But
we can't continue to let them use cannabis to purely fix, their bullshit. They have to give it back to us. We need to have people need access to cannabis.
In these numbers alone, we see that there is something restrictive to the market, period. And the people who already had all of the infrastructure to support this same fucking market now has less market share.
Right.
But like they also didn't really increase the ability for people to produce. Right? Like the few, and I call them few, cultivation licenses that they gave out at 5,000 square feet with the ability to eventually go to 14,000 square feet. And we know, like, people want that to happen. Cultivation sites are capable and ready to increase their footprint. The state just drags their feet. And again, when we had that, I don't know if was it here or there, whatever, the news article that said people have their entire life earnings wrapped up into this thing. Well, these are people who are actually doing the thing well now. They're showing that they're capable of doing it, and they're producing a quality enough product the market's consuming it. That can't fucking increase what they're capable of producing because of shitty limitations. But some arbitrary number that some suits made up behind closed doors without much data or information on why.
Well, I think we're starting to see the data here. The bulk of the sales loss has come from out-of-state resident sales. March 2025, our out-of-state resident sales dropped nearly 3.8 million from March 2024. February 2025 also saw a decline of more than 4 million in out-of-state resident sales. So we're starting to see the out-of-state like really hit the Illinois market. We've been talking about it forever.
They did. That's $3 million fucking dollars. So there actually is an increase in some Illinois market, but a decrease from out of market. And that makes sense too, though.
Right.
This is the funniest thing, and I've said it a couple of times, maybe here or over on my, I don't know, where I've been saying it too, is that we are chasing border money in Illinois. We're border pirates.
I would have rather them taxed out-of-state residents more and given Illinois residents more of a tax break. I think that would have been a smarter thing to do. You know what I mean? In the beginning, and then you could, do whatever once the out-of-state other states start legalizing, you start seeing, compression that way.
Yeah.
I think that might have been better.
Yeah.
But
well, Kentucky just dropped too, so you're about to lose even more. Again, if that's what you're doing is, I don't know. All the best. Like I said, I want the market to succeed, but I want it to succeed. I hate that it's like far from,
Oh, I mean, it's, politics is weird. But hey, Ohio had their first legal 420 cannabis, and they got a 3 million jump in sales for the state's dispensaries.
Wow.
So, it's not bad. So, they legalized recreational marijuana in the 2023 election, but dual-use dispensaries were first permitted to open in August 2024. So according to Ohio Division of Cannabis Control, the week leading up to April 20th saw a significant increase, usually. In the 6 weeks leading up to 420, Ohio averaged more than 260,000 transactions each week. Damn, that's a lot. 3 million, sales jumped 3 million, with total cannabis receipts exceeding 20 million from April 13th to 20. 20 million in a whole week, that's a lot.
That's okay. I mean, it's
for a new market.
For an emerging market, that's not bad. And I don't know what Ohio's population is. I'd also like to know how many dispensaries there are that are operating to provide this. Maybe as well, I'd like to know how many cultivation. I don't know Ohio's market outside of much of what we talk in here.
Right. Well, hopefully I'm going to have Corey on. Kind Bud Stank Nugs is from Ohio.
Yeah, bingo.
So he can give us more of a perspective on that. One of the things I was telling some of my Ohio grower friends in this new market, we were talking one night, and I was like, hey man, like in 2 or 3 years, you're going to be amazed at how different the conversation about cannabis is in Ohio, because I remember how Illinois used to be pre-rec, pre-med even, and people were very, cannabis was not like you didn't wear weed shirts outside, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't flaunt it like we do now. Now it's way more accepted. Everybody knows it's whatever. Grandma uses the edibles half the time. They're gonna see, like it's gonna be a whole new world for them, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
once the conversation happens and it becomes accepted, it
will. Where you're from, see, like that's, I think, because we're only from where we're from, we don't really know what other people are doing where they're from. And when the community around you starts to accept cannabis, it's a wonderful feeling.
right.
Yeah. There was a moment when I was like working in cannabis that it kind of hit me. It was like, I mean, again, like we had a lady, it was like 90 something, 94, 95 years old, whatever she was. She broke the system when she entered cannabis because her birth date was before when the computer system arbitrarily had a number put in. It was like 1925 was the number that the system started at. She was born in 1923. So
Right.
like, yeah, by the time that she was able to do whatever, anyway, seeing the vastness of acceptance amongst every demographic, whether it was the absolute oldest, the absolute youngest, didn't matter religion, race, anything. Once you needed to use it for a personal thing,
It became okay.
Oh man, what a
Here's that article.
What a great thing to have access to, and what a cool community to be part of, and finally to be like, holy cow, this is the thing that's bringing all of this together, right? Doesn't matter where you're from or what you're doing, everybody's down to do this thing. Yeah. Atomic bong, baby.
Atomic bong. Michigan, this is the one I said I saw earlier. Michigan pot sales in March reversed 3-month decline, up 14.5% since February. You were not far off. This was early April, I think.
There we
April
go.
16th. So this is pre-420 as well. So they did see a 15% increase almost.
Wow. Holy cow, this says that the price in March was 28% lower than it was the same month a year ago. That means that they had to do like a quarter more, 30% more business than they did. That is fucking so wild. And that's what I was talking about too. In that number decreasing from month over month in Illinois, does price compression have something to do with it? And that's perfectly fine if it does. But price compression and industry progression might stagnate.
I mean, it says here that throughout the first quarter of 2025, the legal market is trailing last year's sales by nearly 26.5 million. That's fairly similar to damn, no, because we were only 3 and 4 million, right?
But bro, they're down 28%.
Yeah.
All right, so like their market was 3.3 billion, 3.4 billion, whatever it was last year. If their price is compressed by 28%, you're talking about
they're seeing the same thing that we saw a couple years ago with what they did to the hemp prices and what they currently do with the distillate prices.
The other thing, and again, you would imagine that this would be one of the biggest impacted markets in the cannabis space from economic pressure because of all of the border like they get a lot of border rushing. Even like I said, Illinois sends a lot of traffic over there, and we have a legal market. So Ohio sends a bunch of people over there, and they have a legal market. So
yeah.
Yeah.
The other one. There we go. This is the one I had for us, and I know you've read this one already because you talked about it a little bit Thursday night. You had mentioned it, that you saw something that said Michigan was under strain and needs reform. So the person here has told state lawmakers this week that the cannabis industry is under extreme pressure from falling prices, black market activity, and the growing unregulated intoxicating hemp products sold in gas stations and other retailers that compete with licensed products sold through dispensaries. Hannah said that at a Regulatory Affairs Michigan Senate committee meeting April 23rd that the biggest challenges the agency faces this year are the inability to suspend license for egregious conduct, the increasing supply of marijuana flower that outpaces demand, and unregulated and intoxicating hemp products that are flooding the market, the Detroit Free Press reported.
The other day I went to breakfast, and the waitress there, she goes, "Oh, hey, I tried a drink, a cannabis drink. It was like a seltzer water." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I start naming off all the brands in Illinois. I'm like, okay, it has to be this. It has to be Tonic. No. It has to be Senorita. No. It has to be what's that other one? Anyway, I just keep like naming off all these different brands. What's that?
Goddess.
No, there's a CANN. There's a oh my God, I just literally represented their company and I cannot come up with the fucking name right now. I knew it yesterday and now I'm drawing the biggest brain fart. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So she was like, no. And then she goes, hey, hold on, the girl that gave it to me is over there. Hey, what was the name of that thing? The thing. Oh, well, that was Cheech and Chong's brand. And I was like, wait, what? Where'd you get that at? She was like, oh, at Benny's. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. So the public now, because they're running across, and it's funny that there's this like acceptance of cannabis now, or hemp, whatever.
Sure.
Which is, I love it. I'm in for it. Because it is so closely sitting next to something else that people are like, well, I don't care about that. Well, I like drinking. And the one
which is why you're seeing the fight.
That one thing was wet. Was that?
You're starting to see the fight between who can actually regulate the drinks, because the cannabis industry wants to say only they should, and the actual liquor licenses and they're like, why? Like, it's already here. We've already got it. We can just say that it's fine.
We don't it from a hemp company. What are you talking about?
Exactly. What's actually funny at the beginning of this, they were talking about where was it? In the growing unregulated intoxicating hemp products is what they were complaining about. So Farm Bill 2018, right? That was the last one we had. Am I wrong?
No, it's
okay. It was 2018,
I mean,
right?
Keep saying those words,
right? That's what I'm highlighting. Right. So 2018 is when the Farm Bill legalized hemp, right? The federal government. We're supposed to all believe in the federal government, right? They're our daddy, and they take care of us, and they know what's best, right? I mean, that's the general consensus, right?
I mean,
2018.
That's why we all say get away from mainstream news, stay away,
right.
Like make sure.
Michigan's 5-year-old recreational cannabis industry. It's 2025, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're complaining about something that daddy government did before we had our own laws about it. That's stupid.
Literally.
Just saying. Anyway, you know me, I can't keep my mouth shut when I see stupidity like that.
No, yeah. No, all of a sudden, well, we came in and we had to be licensed, so now we want to license.
Right.
The license is different because our license is like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, yeah. I honestly, and this is why, if you ask me, you want to at least, if there was going to still be some governments and whatever, fine, get rid of the fucking lobbyists, baby. Just get rid of these people that are able to send fucking fat wads of money down and push for dumb laws. And literally, it's manipulation of words, right? To continually say unregulated.
Right. And intoxicating. What does intoxicating mean? What does intoxicating actually mean?
Unregulated in what? Do you actually want the hemp product to be tested for fucking micro whatever's the heavy metals and fucking bacterias and molds and what? Fine. Every single hemp producer will absolutely submit, and the amount of hemp producers that we know, you and I both, who literally carry around fucking COAs and fucking these people think that they hold
it's already tested
edge on something.
It's already tested. That's part of the COA.
The better thing is they keep pretending like they don't pay for false testing to begin with. So now
they all pay for false testing. Every regulated or unregulated.
Are you mad
I can tell you some stories.
Don't pay for testing, and otherwise the other thing is nobody out there is consuming untested product. Is all I'm telling you. There's plenty that are, but like if you're any bit educated, you can literally, like all of our friends do, just produce a COA, literally look at the whole entire breakdown of heavy metals, fucking mold count, everything.
Terpenoid content, CBD content, THC content. They make it's the same scientific machine. It's the same fucking lab. They send them to the same lab. It just matters who comes and tests it and where they test and what they test from and at what time that they test and how it's handled and who gets what check.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Because we both know hemp and cannabis cultivators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the first time I said it. Maybe.
I just think come to a better understanding of this words.
Yep.
These words are not to be misinterpreted. It's because of misinterpretation of words that we're even in this conversation to begin with. And if we just allowed for people to be people and allowed to have access to a plant that causes very minimal harm, it can cause harm if misrepresented or misused or whatever. But so, I mean, in the same way, if you went out and grew tomatoes in the same shitty soil with heavy metals and fucking molds and whatever, and you were just eating them fucking tomatoes out of your backyard because, ooh, I grew tomatoes. It's the same unregulated, untested, get out of my face.
Wait,
right? We're
so like I can understand when you're regulating. I can put myself in a position to like get it. Not that I agree with it, to need to have testing if you're going to have something that's sold statewide to make sure that you're not selling something that's going to get people sick. But all the weed you've ever smoked in your life before it was legal was not tested.
Yeah.
And like very rare, like you can tell when shit's moldy. You like, you know, once you start breaking it up, you know, or you take that first hit, you're going to know if something's wrong with it. And that's how most people, you know, were able to tell for thousands of years. Like that don't smell good. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get a bad, but you're not often going to get a bad batch of weed, man. There's just no real reason for the testing. Like
if I
testing
was
or not, it doesn't matter.
It at my house.
Yeah.
In the same way that I was comfortable growing those tomatoes and eating them tomatoes, I was the same way. But because, and to use your word, for daddy government to come in and regulate a plant to me is just the craziest thing. And I get it.
Well, they're trying to regulate the nature of the plant, which is stupid. And in doing the testing, because they're testing regulations that the state has decided, not through like science or anything, it's changing the product of the cannabis.
Well, yeah.
And potentially it could in some way medicinally change the way that we interact with it. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're all oversaturating our
Sure.
in my opinion, I've said it forever. Like if we were to test anything, and I would say what this has done bad, prohibition has done bad, is it's over exacerbated the amount of THC that we are seeing in the plant.
Yeah.
I don't know that it is a good or a bad thing, but I genuinely believe that we're now, like you just said, we're using this plant completely differently than we ever have in the history of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Even in, like we've said, I mean, we can see the most pristinely cultivated cannabis of the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s
Mm-hmm.
looks like boof. Like, it does not look that good. And it's not that it wasn't quality or not. It's that the growing standards or the PGRs or the whatever it is to produce that plant to be that fat, thick, dense, THC rich nugget that everybody wanted, has now turned into like where a lot of us are like, what is this crispy McNugget? Like, you flick the thing
right.
and it's just, well, because you've bred away from any other plant structure and you're trying so desperately to increase that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk to people like Alex, who said, watch out, CRISPR is going to change the game here, because you fools who are hunting THC, we can produce THC, the molecule, from something else. The people who are producing this plant need to understand that if you don't produce this plant for the quality of the plant long term, to preserve genetics or something, right? To not use this as purely this, and I get it. It's a business. Make your money and do your thing, but understand the limitations of the plant in doing your business. G6 is dead because of it. I'll speak to all the market heads out there. G6 is dead because of this. Fucking Florida Orange is dead because of this. You guys do realize that you have, without a doubt, multiple times you've over pushed the limitations of these plants, of your people around you. It's making the market pretty shit. But yeah, I don't know.
Man,
did I freeze up?
I think you did. I was about to ask.
Can you at least hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, sweet, dude. That's fire. I like when that happens.
Yeah.
Here, we'll fix it real quick, maybe.
Nice.
Maybe not real quick, but we'll fix it. But yeah, these people know, and it's been in their face a bunch of times, that like stressing the thing that is the most quality to try to get something from it is no. But as I was saying, it is a blunder of the market, of the people that have been in charge of this market so far. You've literally murdered the most recognizable, the most sought after things that you have and that you've done. And a lot of them are trying now because they understand that consistency that they were able to pull off in the past, and that thing that was recognizable and quality and recognized as quality, now they're paying a lot of money to get the genes to try to pull back off of something or whatever, right? Like, I get it and I'm with it, and I hope that people are able to pull it off. But I think what's happened is, like, you've made like a bad taste in people's mouths a little bit. I don't know if G6 ever came back, or Magmile, or Florida Orange, or the bangers of back in the day, Barry Bubba Kush. you know, super. Dude, there was a lot.
That's why we saw places like Verano change all the names so that it was more marketable and less about, you know, this one or that one or keeping track of what is what.
They did that when they killed everything.
Yeah, I know.
When they murdered everything, when they had mold problems, they had a big ass mold outbreak for a while. Dude, there's, you know, I get it that like you're refining practices on a massive scale like that to be able to do indoor production. I'm like, kudos and hats off to a lot of these people. It's very cool what they're able to do. I'm not like hating. I hope that they succeed. The problem is nobody at this point is taking into consideration the science, the math behind the plant or the consumer, the people, right? This is purely Excel spreadsheet data driven bullshit that you have puppeteers like there's nobody who actually knows a fucking lick about anything. There's badasses in the market still who are little shining pinpricks of like, thank fucking God you're there.
They shine for a while, but then, you know, the same thing eventually happens as they become mids. You know,
dude, and
it's hard to consistently put out good product and you know, revolutionize and you know, make your own space in the market.
But like, just recognize what it means to put out a good product, though. Like, I think like once they like pretend that they have a recipe in the book somewhere, that all of a sudden they're fucking Gordon Ramsay, right? You read grandma's recipe and now you're fucking Gordon Ramsay. You didn't make the thing. The one time you made it, you burned the shit out of it. It takes a lot of times of repeating that recipe to hone in on it and to make it the way that you want it. You'll spice it up a little bit different. You'll put a little bit more seasoning, or you'll let it go for a little bit longer. You like yours al dente. Some people like theirs well done. Whatever the fuck, there's nuances within everything. But like these people, and I promise, I'm not even joking you. They took masterminds, people who are fucking geniuses at growth cycles, whatever, were following them with a little notebook and said, oh, okay, change the water at 3 p.m. And then now they like wrote a fucking playbook and they're like, this is what we do here. You could just follow this. And they thought that that was going to repetitively bring them the quality product, where it's not that. There's more that goes into it than like a scripted playbook. You have to know when to be able to move on your toes. Where in the scripted playbook does it say bugs are at an all-time high? Fucking the pollen in the air is at an all-time high. It's ruining your HVAC system. There's all these different things that are possibilities that people
these chemicals that you're spraying, are they corrosive to metals? What are you going to do?
Are you so dumb that you still have rocks in your massive grow facility?
I mean, drainage, baby. I mean,
you know,
drainage. Then we don't have to clean out the, we don't have to have rolling tables and then pay somebody to clean out the traps once a month.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We can just dump all that stuff right onto the gravel, glyphosates and whatnot. It don't matter.
And also
kick rocks, son.
And if you're growing with bat guano and you're housing the bats in your facility, they have plenty to eat with all those aphids and mites that you invite in.
Yeah. Is that a real thing?
No, but that would be awesome.
Okay. You know what?
Not maybe
I think bat guano is not necessarily the greatest.
Yeah, there's actually very bacteria prone.
Correct.
Yeah.
And actually some people died very recently from using bat guano in their cannabis grows.
Really?
Being exposed to, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, just because of the exposure to the guano itself.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
And there's more for me. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, I think there are more ethically sourced amendments that you can use.
Worms
that are just as well, I mean, obviously, but they are just as good as bat guano.
I like worms
that are less dangerous. I for me, ethically sourcing something is better than using that sort of resource.
Yeah, I
Not that I
don't
haven't
honestly
used back
don't know
on them, but
anything about
yeah.
it except for I heard it once, and so I just use that terminology a lot. Well, I do know what the process is, but yeah, I don't know much. Anywho, you want to do this thing here?
Yeah, I am. I wanted to look up that. Here we go. Quickly. Oh, that's. Am I in the right one? Oh yeah. All right. Well, I was gonna. Yeah, there was December 2024. There was two guys based in Rochester, New York, died of a rare fungal lung infection that they caught from bat guano they were using as fertilizer to grow cannabis.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, hey.
You got some symptoms from your condition to help you feel better. That is my mission. At the Conditional Cannabis Corner, you can get that information, and it won't even cost you a quarter.
Anyway, oh, woo! Hey, friends, it's me. Today I would like to talk about stomach pain, in IBS, colitis, Crohn's, any of the intestinal issues. And I understand that I was actually talking to Aaron right before I started this, and I said, you know what, bro, I don't know if I'm going to put all of these together, but then I said, you know what, I think I will. Um, the reason I wouldn't put them all together is because IBS doesn't necessarily mean that you are dealing with an inflammation response. And the only reason I preface that is because in me telling you one of the better ways to deal with some of these longer term stomach issues that we have been dealing with for our whole lives is to be consistent with CBD. It's going to be funny because you guys are going to hear me say this way more during this segment than anything. A consistency of CBD, especially for people who have inflammatory issues in the intestinal tract, is it's a godsend, right? CBD has to be the thing that we use with consistency. The other thing that I would also tell you and I would like to see more to keep that in your body as a consistency. I always say an edible form of this is the way. If you can get something with CBD and THCA, you're only helping your cause. Both very good for anti inflammatory. I also like the idea of going through the stomach more than going through methods like an inhalable or a tincture, though both of them are very quickly alleviating of some of the pain, right? It's a kind of quick breakthrough fuck it all. Tincture is a little bit slower, but definitely inhalation for the breakthrough. They're very comfortable immediately. They may not be the long-term gratifier, especially for people who are dealing with intestinal issues or whatever. To smoke something and to get that coughing response can cause constriction in different parts of our all the way through our system. So it can be mildly irritating where depending on what you're dealing with, I also greatly recommend, and I this is the key point that I hope everybody takes from this. Suppositories are there's such a viable method of ingestion, and um because I fall into the same category that everybody else does, where I'm like, oh, exit hole only, not for me, that's not going to ever happen. I would discredit that method of ingestion probably personally. And then I got into the industry and everybody said, well, what the hell are you talking about? You tell us that you have stomach issues. And I said, yeah, I do. And everybody said, this is the greatest thing that we've ever done. As far as direct ingestion, I think, and that's why when I talk about what's the most important things of cannabis, method of ingestion comes up in my mouth first, because if you're not directly treating or getting the cannabinoids to that area, are we being the most effective? Would we decrease the pain in from whatever our condition is by inhalation? Yes, we would. It would be a quick kind of breakthrough thing, but would we be alleviating any of the inflammation, which is actually a symptom of your condition? We're just not. And that inflammation is the reason why you feel the pain that you do a lot of times. So, method of ingestion and suppositories, friends, for a lot of people who are intimidated by hearing it or find it laughable to say, that's okay. I'm not like, this segment might not be for you, but for anybody who literally has suffered any form of intestinal or stomach period, right? Like, I've seen a lot of females actually have very good success from using uh, suppositories for cramps, for monthly cramps and stuff. So there's a lot of different ways to get comfort from cannabis. And through inhalation, will we get some pain relief? Maybe, right? And will it be just that quick kind of F it all that maybe some of us are very comfortable with seeking? It is a breakthrough comfort. But to actually help your intestines, to help directly treat the symptoms of your Crohn's, which is inflammation, to help directly treat colitis, to help, and it's not directly treat the condition itself, but the symptoms of those said conditions. I beg everybody out there to not laugh so much at suppositories. For people with these conditions, for the love of God, please don't discredit this. It's one of the wildly, the first time I mentioned it to, and there's one person who sticks out in my mind. When she came in, she said, oh, I can't get any relief. I said, hey, have you ever considered? And it's hard to have that conversation as a big bearded male to a female. Anyway, she said, I haven't, but now that you're even willing to mention, like, should I really consider it? And I said, honestly, the people who come through here, they rave about it. I think it's one of the coolest things. She came in, bought one, came back the next day and said, how many of those do you have? I never want to be without that. This is the greatest comfort since I've been diagnosed with Crohn's. This is the greatest comfort I've ever felt. And it wasn't just a, like, oh, quick little relief. Like, I always anticipate waking up the next morning going, okay, it's back again or whatever. She said, when I woke up this morning and I was still comfortable, I had to come here first. This is the first thing I wanted to do. Let me get more of those. And I was like, okay, just make sure, it's like, make sure you properly use. And that's why I beg everybody, know your methods of ingestion, know how much you might need to consume. And I say methods of ingestion because timing's all involved in that. How much you might consume has to do all with what cannabinoids might be effective when you're doing it. Terpenes do kind of matter, but it depends on what response we're trying to, get out of it, right? If you wanted my humble, beta caryophyllene, and this is why expert level cannabis knowledge is terpenes. Beta caryophyllene is very effective at inflammation reduction. It actually binds with our CB2 receptors, helping to invoke the response of inflammation reduction. And I don't know that I would tell you peppercorns in a suppository is the way, right? Doesn't feel, I don't know why. In my brain, I'm like, that, nah, we're okay. We'll just go with I don't even know. All right. The blueberry ones. Get you the blueberry ones. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to this thing. Thanks for letting me rant about what I think. And it's not what I think, friends. It's literally what I've been able to witness with again, I've sat across from thousands of patients, hundreds of different conditions, I would say. And it wasn't like any one thing was the consistency, right? Like, but try things out and understand um methods of ingestion, cannabinoids, and you always have me if you've got any questions. Thanks again. Golly, I love this part.
Me too. Hey,
Yeah.
last week we had our first Dave's Conditional Cannabis Corner with the new intro and debuted it. It was really good. We got a lot of good feedback.
Dude,
I thought it was awesome.
like that little doo-wop.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, as we get more of them, I started a playlist on YouTube, and I'll have those all in a Dave's Conditional Cannabis Corner playlist. So
nice.
Yeah. It's easy enough. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's easy enough to edit and just upload and add onto the playlist. But yeah, no, it's really cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, and you know, if there's a condition that you have, you know, you can email us at twodopedudspodcast@gmail.com anonymously if you like. I'll send them over to Dave.
If you're comfortable sharing it and you want to know anything, just drop a comment in the comment section. Say, hey,
absolutely. I just meant if you want to do it anonymously first. You know,
what's that?
For those that wanted to do it anonymously and maybe not be public. But yeah, absolutely. Please comment. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere. If it's easier for you, just drop it. And if you're not ashamed, I mean, you can go under YouTube and change your name to something completely, you know, Periwinkle or something. And you just come in here and be Periwinkle and you're fine. But ask away, please. Because I do know a lot of people who have actually just been like intimidated, right? Nobody wants to share that they're vulnerable or going through it sometimes. So that's okay.
Man. We love you all. Smoke weed every day. Peace.
Bye.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.